When I was a kid growing up in Israel, I was completely sure that Jontra Volta's name was Jontra Volta. First name Jontra, last name Volta. I heard it that way so many times before I ever saw it written down. And there was no reason for me to think otherwise. Nobody hands you a little marker in the middle of a sentence that says, this is where one word ends and the next one starts. It's just sound, a mesh, and your brain fills in the gaps however it can. If you've ever listened to Hebrew and felt like it's flying past you, like the second someone starts a sentence, it just turns into one long wall of sound with no seams in it. I want you to know exactly what's happening because it's not what you think. You tell yourself Hebrew is just fast. Native speakers talk fast, you think, and you don't have the ear for it and maybe never will. You catch a word here, a word there, and everything in between disappears into a blur before you can grab onto it. You watch someone else nod along, laughing at the right moment, and you wonder, how are they doing it? Because to you, it all sounded like static with a few familiar sounds floating in it. Or maybe it's this. Someone says a sentence to you and you actually know most words in it. You recognize almost every one of them on its own without any trouble at all. But strung together out loud at real speed, you can't pull a single one back out. It's not a vocabulary problem. You know the words. It's that your ear never learned how to find them once they're moving. Here's what's actually true. Hebrew isn't faster than other languages. I know that sounds hard to believe when you're the one sitting there missing half of it, but it's real. Any language you don't speak yet or just started speaking sounds fast. Every single one, because your brain hasn't learned where the breaks are. Speech doesn't come with punctuation. Jontra Volta. There is no gap between the words the way there is on a page. Your ear has to learn to cut the sounds into pieces. And until it does, it isn't that you're slow. It's that nobody ever showed you where to cut. Think about it like a puzzle. Not a puzzle where every piece is a different shape and a different color, so you can tell at a glance where it goes. A puzzle where every single piece is the exact same shade of blue. That's what an unfamiliar language sounds like at first. One solid color. You can't find an edge because nothing is telling you where one piece stops and the next one begins. And Hebrew makes this even harder in one specific way. Small pieces get attached directly onto the front and the back of words. A piece that means and, a piece that means the, a piece that changes who is making the action, all fused right onto the word itself with no space, no pause, nothing that tells your ear a new piece just started. So even the words you do know can disappear because they walked in wearing a disguise you didn't recognize. It's not random and it's not designed to trip you up. I promise. Hebrew builds words the way it builds everything else, in patterns. The same small pieces show up again and again, attached the same way in word after word, which means the same thing that makes Hebrew sound impossible to separate at first is also the thing that, once you learn to recognize it, makes it predictable. And no, you're not memorizing 1,000 different disguises. You're learning a handful of pieces that keep reappearing. And here's the part that changes everything. You don't need Hebrew to slow down. You need your ear to learn where the pieces are. And once it does, even a little, the blue puzzle stops being one solid color. You start seeing an edge here, a corner there, and then another. And the wall of sound you used to hear starts breaking into pieces you can actually catch. It doesn't happen all at once. It happens the same way any puzzle gets solved, piece by piece. And every piece you separate makes the next one easier to find. And this is true no matter how long you've been trying or how many times you felt discouraged and stepped away. Your ear isn't broken, it's untrained. And untrained is the temporary state, not a permanent one. This is exactly why I built Practically Speaking Hebrew around training your ear first, before anything else. Every single syllable broken apart so you can hear precisely where one sound ends and the next begins. In the beginning, when it's hardest, you're listening to a native speaker who specializes in clear, well-paced speech, in Hebrew, of course, at exactly the right speed for an ear that is still learning where the seams are. And you see it written phonetically or transliterated. Same thing, not only in Hebrew letters. So you're never forced to decode reading and listening at the same time. That is one massive load taken off your brain right when you need it gone the most. And you learn the small pieces that attach to the words, so they stop being invisible and start being landmarks you recognize on sight. That blue puzzle you've been staring at, the one that felt like it has no edges at all. It has edges. You just hadn't been shown where they were yet. Every piece you learn to separate is one you get to keep for good. And you start using the same pieces as building blocks to mix and match into your own sentences. That is what I mean by standing on your own in Hebrew. And that is why it happens so fast. So if you're ready to stop hearing Hebrew as one long wall of sound and start hearing it clearly, piece by piece, join me inside Practically Speaking Hebrew. The link is in the description. I'll meet you there and I'm with you as long as it takes. Thank you for watching, and I will see you next time.